When it comes to superhero culture, there is little doubt that Invincible has rocked the popularity polls and gotten a lot of people interested into it, myself included. And one of the popular topics was, hey, what if Omni-Man fought this guy? What if Omni-Man fought Saitama? What if Omni-Man fought Superman or Homelander? And the one that I thought was really good was Omni-Man against Goku. If you know a decent amount about these, two universes, you might be like, well, isn't Goku like universal or something? Like, doesn't he win pretty much? And yeah. But what if we used Son Goku from his earlier days? Before solar system, galactical, and universal threats were a thing, and planet busting was still pretty relevant. Who would be able to win in this matchup? The conquering Viltrumite, or the peaceful, martial arts loving Son Goku? In this video, we're gonna analyze their feats, their attack potency or destructive capacity, their durability, their speed, their techniques and skill, and other stuff like that to see who will actually beat the other one. By the way, pretty obvious, but if you have not read all of Invincible, I highly suggest you do before you watch this, or, if you haven't, whatever, if you want to watch it anyways. But this video will include spoilers. We're not really gonna go, story heavy, we're just mostly gonna mention, feats and stuff like that. But, yeah, you've been warned. At first, this topic didn't really interest me, and I didn't really think it was a fair matchup, but after I read more of Invincible, I watched the series, and I went over the crossovers and stuff like that, I started to see that the series is actually, pretty crazy when it comes to scaling and the feats, and I actually think that Omni-Man has a pretty good chance. And with me today to go over this is my pal, your favorite villain. He has his own channel. We have done collabs before. One of them was the Hulk versus Broly debunk. We did a while back. So yeah, say what's up, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chuck. Check me out, YFV, most famous kid from Yancey Street, not named Ben Grimm. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, so, thanks for making it on here. We have been reading a lot of comics for the past couple of weeks and months. We have gone over a lot of arguments, brainstorming how this battle could go. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and begin with the strength and attack potency for Omni-Man.
I remember thinking, I'm about to beat this bitch up.
So Omni-Man, his name is Nolan Grayson. He is the father of Invincible, whose series is pretty lit, definitely. It's only the first season, but, they are definitely gonna make more because, how much of a big success it has been. But Omni-Man is a member of the Viltrumites, who are super-powered humans with, super speed, really crazy strength, immense stamina, and are really, really savage in battle. Nolan was actually one of the most decorated veterans amongst their race, and he was actually one of their elite who had his own division. He is a master of many combat styles, but he is mostly a brawler. And behind that, it's thousands of years of experience in exploring the cosmos. Omni-Man might not be the top dog of the series, but he is definitely one of the strongest characters, even amongst the Viltrumites. He is easily right up there. And right after Omni-Man beat the out of his son on Earth, he went to, find another planet, and the Viltrumites, they saw him as a traitor, and they sent out, I believe 3 or 4 Viltrumites because they knew that he was gonna be very difficult to put down. Now, Mark did help him out in this battle, and, they did eventually lose, but Nolan was still able to hold his own against, at least 2 of them, and he pretty much, heavily wounded them. In the Viltrumite War, which is when, Battle Beast, Tag Jacket, who's kind of this Iron Man dude, Thetis, who's the leader of the Viltrumites, or, the leader of the Rebels, I should say, who is a Viltrumite, and Alan, the alien, who is crazy powerful as well. All of them went to, go fight the Viltrumites. And we can actually scale, Nolan to be, several times above a typical Viltrumite, because... So, Battle Beast, he's very crazy at the peak of his power. He was able to go up against Thrag, and even early on, he was already able to, pretty much pull up a really good fight against one Viltrumite, to the point that he became way too powerful that he fought, so many Viltrumites at the same time. There are these sequences in the Viltrumite War where he's not fighting 1 or 2 Viltrumites, he's fighting up to 5 at a time, or at least 4, And although he likely wasn't at full power because, I mean, he had been fighting beforehand, he went up against Thrag and he just like basically just grabbed him by the neck and just threw him and was like, you're a nuisance, dude. Like, get out of here, fodder, you know, basically. And then there is like a 5-year time skip, and when Omni-Man fights Thrag at the very end, although he still loses, he pulls up a much better fight against him, and his headbutt actually does a lot more damage this time around. And Thrag even praised him and was like, okay, that was pretty impressive, you know, that was a nice move, you know, stuff like that. And he even said, in my absence, like, you were like the rightful ruler of the Viltrum Empire, right? And he does associate like the title of, you know, being a Viltrum king and stuff like that with strength. So he gave this much stronger Nolan like praise, yet this Battle Beast, he was like, get out of here. Now, I'm not saying that Omni-Man is as powerful as Battle Beast at his best when he fought Thrag for like several days, but what I'm trying to say here is that Omni-Man at the end at least scales, you know, to several Viltrumites. Now, this is very important because one of the biggest feats in the series is when Omni-Man alongside Invincible and Thetis, and they shot from Space Racer, who's like this, you know, dude on, you know, this space bike basically, who's also really powerful that he can literally like shoot these Viltrumites and kill them. But anyways, these four like went to charge at this planet, and they do manage to destroy the planet, but they don't vaporize it, they just like shatter it. And the thing that actually kind of downplays Omni-Man in this case is that even though they can clearly, you know, crush these planets apart, they can't really endure like the aftermath like unscathed, because they actually got knocked out for a couple of moments, and Thetis did say like, yo, we need to do this like correctly or we could die, right? And obviously shattering a planet is a lot less like impressive than vaporizing a planet, but this isn't really like a good argument to like put down Omni-Man, because I mean, this was like halfway in the series. Omni-Man got several boosts in power, not to mention that they were like exhausted when they did this feat because they had been fighting prior to that and they even traveled there. But basically there are several villains in the early and middle parts of Invincible and the tie-ins that say that these characters are life wipers, you know, they can basically, you know, raise the continents, or they have even been implied to be planet destroyers, and one of them even like a reality destroyer. In the Pact, there is like this alternate future Invincible who fought this dude named the Reaver, who was stated as being able to like turn worlds into dust and basically make them into husk, you know, dry husk. So, you know, life wiping. And in their battle, they did shatter like a moon. So, you know, that's still pretty significant. There were also these two villains named Thoth and Set, and they were stated that, you know, in their battles, they would devastate planets. They would also like basically, you know, life wipe them. And Thoth actually says that like as his brother like drained the power of them, he would build up enough energy to like destroy planets. Now, we don't know if they mean like they would literally bust it, you know, shatter it or whatever, or if they would just, you know, wipe out all life on Earth. Then there is this character named Tech Jacket that helps out the Coalition to fight the Viltrumites, and although he wasn't powerful enough to like heavily damage or kill a Viltrumite, he was still able to hold his own against them and, you know, make them bleed a little bit. But he was able to defeat this dude named Null, who basically one-shotted this huge Galactus-like being, who was stated as being like a, you know, world eater. So once again, there is like that planetary scaling element there, and, you know, these guys don't even scale to a full-powered Viltrumite. In the novels that Nolan made, you know, to basically like do retellings of his adventures through space, he names this guy called the Space Rider or Space Racer, and he says that his Infinity Ray or Infinity Gun is so powerful that it could literally blow through planets and stars. And the crazy thing is that Omni-Man beat like the Space Rider early on, and when, you know, he and Alan go recover him, he's like, oh, you failed to kill me, you know? So I kind of take that as implication that he got shot by that before and it didn't work. But then again, Omni-Man does like show caution, you know, he's like, he doesn't want to get shot because Space Racer's gun is so nasty that it literally could heavily injure and kill Viltrumites. And I would honestly say that he's like one of the strongest characters because that gun is mad OP. So going by Omni-Man possibly, you know, being shot by this really powerful like bullet before, I think that it could be used to argue that Omni-Man could, you know, withstand a pretty powerful attack that could, you know, do heavy damage to a planet and a star. And that is not even counting like all of these time skips and the boost in power that he got, not only from training, but also from getting heavily injured in battle, and that happened a lot. So, Viltrumites can also kind of get Zenkai boosts.
Early on, there's other stuff like Alan, the alien. When he first came in the series, he was shown like just stopping by on accident by a star and saving a ship from the like full gravitational pull of a star and just throwing them away and being like, y'all are dumb, don't do that again. And then he just kept it moving, right? And then when he pulled up on Mark, and this is very early on, and Mark hit him, Alan was like, yeah, if that was your dad, he would have one-shot me. Like you said, the racer, at least planet to star level range was said, and it wouldn't make sense that Omni-Man would lie about his power, because the Viltrumites are so famous and so renowned anyway. He doesn't need the extra clout with all the other feats they do. I mean, literally each punch was compared from a fodder Viltrumite to genocide, just wiping out races. That's it. Like, so they're already known, even after a virus that wiped most of them out. They're still known as like a terror to the universe. So that fact right there kind of helps with the downplay that comes from one feat. Plus, I would ask people to remember that Viltrumites can get a little weird about their anatomy when it comes to combat. For example, their atoms structure themselves specifically to deal with certain things in survival. So, AP, durability. And Mark didn't seem to understand that. And when he went near a star and got put on the surface, it was kind of hinted at during the fight that like, yo, your atoms are getting compromised because you're trying to fight me, but at the same time, you got to resist the heat. So a multi-front battle for his body can be overwhelming, and that makes sense because Omni-Man explained his body got taxed by trying to do too much after the Thrag battle. I definitely agree that the planetary downplay is weird, and if it got like super spicy, I'd probably bring out crossovers, but we're not doing that this video. But yeah, I do feel like his AP is a lot safer than people give credit for, because AP doesn't inherently mean durability. It doesn't.
Yeah. A lot of these civilizations, they found it really hard to even get one aspect of the smart atoms into their technology, but it says that only the Viltrumites like mastered a lot of them and can use them with their DNA. And with these smart atoms, their atoms can retain their normal structure even while they're like in extreme conditions of like really crazy heat or really like low, freezing temperatures. And I think it would be logical that, Mark or Nolan, like they could survive on like a star, right? But if they're fighting at the same time, that is gonna not pell out well for them. So even though they have really crazy resistance, they do have a limit to how much abuse they can put their cells through.
And it's different layers of abuse. Literally on his back is the heat of a sun, and in his front is planet plus busting power. That's like his body's literally dealing with multiple potentially threatening, like life-threatening events. And so it just seemed to me that the body just gets overtaxed. So yeah, I think that's what led to the downplay.
Now, there is some higher scaling. One of these is Omnipotus, who I thought was a pretty cool character. The guidebooks and the series, they call him like a world shaper or like a world eater, even like a dimensional eater or destroyer. And the handbooks do imply that this guy can like wipe out an universe or even, pretty much just threaten reality however he sees fit. It actually states that one of his feats was like destroying a star system, but it does say it was like through a chain reaction. So Omnipotus, like, he is kind of weird to scale because he was killed off by Dinosaurus, who was like this red dinosaur dude who actually scales above Conquest and Mark in the Viltrumite War. And Omnipotus, like, even while he was like really weak, he still like slapped all of the world's heroes, and these heroes were able to like defeat these alternate versions of Invincible. Unfortunately, we don't really have like a multiplier element for, how much more powerful these guys got after getting, mauled on. But a possible multiplier I found is that there are like these Reanimen, which are like these like really sketch cyborgs made from dead people. Cecil had like these Reanimen made from those Invincibles, and although obviously they wouldn't be able to fight as the full extent of an Invincible, they should have relative like strength and like speed levels. And in the handbook, it is stated that even just like the normal Reanimen have like their endurance and reaction times amplified by 10 times. So if you want to apply that to the Invincibles as well, we do see Mark and Dinosaurus like fend off all of these Invincibles casually, and they basically, leave them there, and they could have likely killed all of them as well. So I think it is fair to say that like a post-Viltrum War Invincible and, who Omni-Man became more powerful than at the end of the series, scales above all of these Invincibles. And it's not far-fetched that they would have gotten a boost in a way, because, we also saw, like, Battle Beast and Alan, like, recover and become more powerful the next time. So I think that going by these examples, I think it is fair to say that they would get a multiplier of some kind after a while.
Look, everyone, as the guy known for Dragon Ball, I'm gonna speak on Goku's origins. Just kidding, but I have been reading him a lot lately, and I did love his intro arc, so I will be talking about his intro. Now, Goku, when he first initially landed on Earth, he was sent there as a part of a Saiyan race that is sent out to dominate the cosmos. That's what they do. They're a dominant warrior class. The problem was, upon landing, it didn't go well. Goku hit his damn head, and when he did, he lost that Saiyan inherent violent dominance to take over, but he still had his love for martial arts and combat. Grew up on Earth, becoming one of the most world-renowned martial artists, and eventually all of this would lead to him being confronted by his own people, the Saiyans, who came to Earth, checking up on the man known as Kakarot to them, but known to Earth as Goku. And then being pitted against his own kind, Goku made a choice to defend his current home, Earth, and the family he started. Ends up dying in the process, jobbing to Raditz super hard. But this, of course, leads to a massive training arc. He comes back to save his people from the rest of the Saiyans, which, of course, at that time included Nappa and Vegeta. Eventually goes on to defeat Nappa. Nappa gets beat up and destroyed by Vegeta for being a flop. And then Goku engages Vegeta, proving he is worthy of being called a Saiyan warrior, which of course leads to Vegeta leaving, Goku taking time to get stronger, which goes into the Namek saga, in which famously almost everyone's favorite villain Frieza comes in, just being a hood rat. And we will speak on some feats in the Frieza arc for AP, but I do feel like a majority of the AP is still a threat even in the Saiyan arcs. And my reason for saying that is Piccolo early on realized he messed up while training Gohan. Gohan was triggered by the moon and transformed and was a threat to destroy Earth in that phase, according to Piccolo. So Piccolo, in the moment, impulsively, instantly blew up the moon. And this Piccolo was fodder to Nappa. Nappa couldn't hit Goku walking by. Like, it wasn't even comparable, to the point that Vegeta was like, "You're a fucking embarrassment, dog," and blew his ass up. It was that bad. So at that point, they're massively, beyond planet. Literally in this same fight, Vegeta with like 1% phone battery in his damn health was like, "Yo, I'm blowing up Earth since you're a bitch." Yeah, even early on, Planet to Planet Plus was pretty damn consistent in the Saiyan saga, and progresses massively after that due to training, due to Zenkais, and because of that, I truly do feel like even Saiyan Saga Goku had an argument for AP with Omni-Man. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And the whole thing with Viltrum, that feat, we don't really know how big Viltrum is, but if we assume like it is like a regular sized planet like our Earth, and then you account that it took like 4 characters basically to do this feat, and they didn't even vaporize it, it does kind of like, shift like the influence of power in Goku's favor. And very early on, like you said, with Piccolo, very suppressed, he has weights on, just instantly vaporizes the moon. Even before that, Roshi, even before he trained for like the other world tournaments, in his max power form was able to like wipe out the moon, right? And then there's a character named Tao Pai Pai who was like this exclusive, high-ranking assassin. He basically fought to this Goku who was comparable, if not stronger than that Roshi, and he literally like didn't give a shit about his attacks. Goku then trains with a cat named Karin, and he basically is able to point blank like endure Tao Pai Pai's like energy attack, and Goku literally like crushes it with like his hand. So even before Goku becomes like a teenager, before he even fights the Saiyans, before he even fights Frieza, is already like enduring a Moon Plus level attack with his hand. After Goku trains with Roshi, he trains with Karin, and then eventually trains with Kami, who's like, you know, the god of the earth, and many of these guys have hundreds of years of experience. It actually took Roshi like over 50 years to learn how to use the Kamehameha, and he's already like described as being like a, you know, martial arts master and like, you know, one of the best like human fighters in the whole series. Yet Goku is able to like quickly learn from that, you know, adapt. He can mimic the techniques. He actually was able to learn the Kamehameha pretty quickly. You know, use after images, which are basically like, I guess you could call them shadow clones, kind of. Basically, Goku moves so fast that it looks like there's several of him. And then once he trained under King Kai, a very good, you know, thing that you found out yourself was that like King Kai said, yo, like training with me is like a few thousand years of experience of training on Earth, right? So although Goku is not as old as Omni-Man, nor does he have like the lifespan that he has, within, you know, those 20 years, he was able to basically receive hundreds to thousands of years of training, even by like, you know, really crazy masters and stuff.
Omni-Man, I think one of his more impressive speed feats that needs to be discussed is how far he traveled to get to where he needed to be in order to, you know, establish a new place to live. So they do acknowledge in the series that there are planets outside of the star system that are indeed habitable. With only one breath, which is like at max, I believe, a week, he flew out of the star system and found a habitable planet. And he didn't seem entirely pressed when he found it. Like, he looked like he was just casually holding his breath, happened upon it. He did say he got lucky, but when he said he got lucky, he was talking about there's just not many living habitable planets in the universe. Like, you do have to get lucky. And even without that, the weaker Alan I mentioned was noted as having like casually traveled across solar systems in no time at all. And he's supposed to, with his job, be able to like navigate the cosmos and the universe. So it makes sense he's that fast anyway. And he said a way weaker version of Omni-Man than how strong he gets at the end would have like casually blitzed in one shot.
So I'm not gonna lie, for Goku, the speed part is gonna be troubling for him because, I mean, he should easily be faster than light. Like even like in early Dragon Ball Z, you could even argue before that, at least relativistic. Because, I mean, we do know that Roshi's attack was able to vaporize the moon pretty quickly, pretty much instantly. You know, it would still be relativistic or, you know, some percentage of the speed of light. And we know that as characters become more powerful, their speed also increases in vast majority of cases. And we see Goku reacting to, dodging, and outright like tanking these energy attacks that would logically be stronger and faster than Roshi's attack that was used to, you know, wipe out the moon. And when Goku fought against Frieza, even before he had Super Saiyan, he was able to like escape the very instant that Frieza's paralyzing energy attack actually exploded. So even within the smallest opening, Goku can find a way to escape, you know, out of these attacks. Yeah, but apart from that, if we exclude filler, which actually has some pretty crazy in it, there really isn't a way to get Goku to like Omni-Man speed. Like, I just don't see it. Like, you could maybe say he's like hundreds, thousands of times FTL, maybe even millions. But even if we highball it that much, it's still not gonna look good for him because we don't get specifics in the comics or the series, but we do in the handbook. And they say that the planet that Omni-Man reached, which was like the Mantis race planet, where he, you know, he got busy with a Mantis chick, you know, and you know he laid
the official pipe of the Viltrumites.
That one is said to be in the Virgo supercluster galaxy, which is said to be about 65 million light years away from Earth. And if he did that like within a week, right, so 6 to 7 days, that can be calculated to being like 3.3 billion times the speed of light. And keep in mind, this is while he's mostly pretty casual. This is very early on in the series. When you analyze Omni-Man's speed, he could easily be tens to hundreds of billions of times faster than light. Now, someone might say, oh, well, but travel speed is not combat speed, right? However, Alan himself, like, it is stated that his reaction times and combat reflexes are proportional to the speed that he can use, like, while, he's just traveling normally. And Omni-Man and other characters have fought him, so they would logically scale to that as well. And another distinction is that the handbook also says that Viltrumites are fast enough to rival, if not even surpass, the speed of these spaceships, which are stated to be superluminal or faster than light. And a good example of this was when Mark was freaking the hell out that he was trying to get to Earth before like the Viltrumites came to conquer it, and he thought that flying there would be faster than waiting in the spaceship, right? So it is very clear that their reaction times and combat speed would be, comparable to their travel speed. So, and the thing that I really like about Dragon Ball is that they really emphasize like how small of a gap can like affect a battle. Because after Vegeta got his ass whooped on Earth, he recovered and got more powerful. And he faced off against this guy named Kiwi, who like Splash really had a lot of expectations for, but it failed him. And the difference between these two characters was like 1.1 times, and Vegeta was still able to outright speed blitz him and literally vaporize him.
Yeah, he saw homeboy Vegeta go up by like 1% and he was like, I'm dead.
He was like, take the out.
I was like, Kiwi, come on, man. But yeah, it's like, I don't have a problem with that. I feel like a lot of people might think that's silly, but think about if someone is throwing something at you 100 miles per hour and then they just throw it like 110. That big enough difference is the difference between hitting a ball and missing by a damn mile, even those shifts and change is still crazy, especially when you go from like 10 times FTL, amp that a little bit, suddenly you're 11 times FTL, that's pretty damn fast. And so they're at a high level. So the way they go up is just so much crazier.
I don't know, I think like the whole speed blitz difference is like really like critical and a lot more like significant in Dragon Ball than it is in Invincible, because as I said, even though Thrag was more skilled and more powerful and was slightly faster, Nolan and Mark weren't like, so outpaced that they literally couldn't keep up with him, In the battle against Frieza, like, these characters are so fast. Like, base Goku and heavily suppressed Frieza were fighting so fast that Piccolo, who was not that much weaker than both of them, was like, these guys are gods. I can't even keep up with what they're doing. In essence, I believe that Omni-Man just clearly has a speed advantage. I don't think that's really, like, up to debate. I think it's pretty obvious. If we do use filler from Dragon Ball Z, maybe it could, swing in Goku's favor somehow, where King Kai has no trouble locating and tracking Goku's spaceship, which he used to get to Namek in a couple of days, which is literally halfway across the universe and likely billions of light years away. Yet he was like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, I can't see them, when trying to track Goku and Frieza fighting.
Another big point for us to discuss is endurance and energy efficiency, and this is interesting because Omni-Man has shown, and this makes sense given his training, given his position he held with the Viltrumites, he has incredible efficiency with how he distributes his energy. He's straight to the point. One breath can literally power him for a week. His body is just made to be massively beyond any kind of stamina peak human or other races can do. He's fodder armies for hours. Viltrumites, we actually do know, even fodder ones, took Alan's planet for days. It was several days of a war, and wiped them out. So even the fodder ones have really good stamina feats. Omni-Man should be able to fight at peak or around where he wants to fight, depending on who his opponent is, for several hours to, you could argue, days if you needed to. But he does have a pretty damn good gas tank on him.
Alrighty, so for stamina, due to his smart atoms, Omni-Man is able to use his energy a lot more efficiently and longer than a Saiyan would with the same resource. That is not to say that Goku doesn't have good stamina, because, I mean, I don't recall him fighting someone for hours or days, but that is mostly because in majority of his battles he would finish the fight quickly or he would get his ass beat. And while he was on his way to Namek, he basically trained non-stop and, to the point of exhaustion, and then would go again the next day, pretty much. But I think an argument could be made that Goku would theoretically have a larger energy pool or stamina pool. If you want to go through like Dragon Ball standards, that he has more ki and therefore more power. But even if Omni-Man does have like a smaller energy pool, he would still be more efficient and would theoretically be able to fight and, do whatever he needs to do longer than Goku would. All in all, I would have to give the edge of stamina to Omni-Man.
Look, I'm not trying to, throw shade at my boy Goku, but I do know when he broke his legs against Vegeta, he hit life alert.
And I can't get up!
So, like, I do think people mistake their toughness. Like, Goku's, I told Chuck this off record, his toughness is crazy. Like, they take earth-shattering blasts and eat it, but when they do get physically compromised to an extreme, like shattered bones, getting torn open, it's a completely different story. So it's like almost like once you get past the shell, it's a problem. So I do think that aspect of the durability favors Omni-Man, because, oh my god, Viltrumites just get ripped open like piñatas for no reason. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so the toughness in that aspect does favor Omni-Man, but that doesn't mean he's actually more resistant.
And if you have read or watched Invincible, you know that this show is really gory, really brutal, and the thing about these Viltrumites is that I would say they are a lot more resilient than Saiyans and vast majority of beings in, Dragon Ball in terms of like how much damage and abuse they can take, because there are so many sequences where like these characters get like limbs torn off, bones broken, have their guts spilling everywhere, and they are still fighting or are still conscious and they are still surviving. And literally, Omni-Man got like spliced in half basically, and his heart was heavily injured, but was still like conscious, or at least like somewhat, alive. And I don't know, Viltrumites are damn crazy. Now, Thrag and Battle Beast, they are a lot more powerful than, Omni-Man and stuff like that. But I think their stamina gives us like a fair measure of what Omni-Man could do, and it's not far-fetched because we have seen these characters getting spliced apart and, having everything spilling out, yet they are still alive or conscious in a way, and have even fought in those conditions as well. And the reason that I am bringing this up is that with Goku, although he does, have really crazy resilience, he was able to stay alive for like 6 hours of constant pain. Fighting in that manner didn't really seem possible for him in that situation. But he has fought with broken bones and having like these really nasty wounds, but to say that he could fight as well with like having a limb cut off or, having his guts spilling out, I don't think that's very probable. And obviously, like, one would say, well, they can't really show stuff like that. But in the manga, I mean, we saw Goku getting, like, pierced through his chest by Moro. And yeah, obviously Moro is more powerful than, anyone in Invincible. But the degree of damage that he did to him, which, going by Invincible standards, a wound like that is not that bad. And Goku pretty much passed the fuck out right then and there, so, In essence, I think that Goku being superior in attack potency and durability makes sense. But when it comes to, like, being able to fight, like, or staying conscious and surviving after having these really nasty wounds, I would likely give that edge to Omni-Man. Although Goku does have really nice resilience, I think Omni-Man just, I don't know, man, those guys can, be burst open and bleeding everywhere, and somehow they stay alive.
Omni-Man bleeds more, bitch. That's for sure. But yeah, I would definitely say the Smart Atoms regen factor heavily favors, in my opinion, Omni-Man. Fight IQ, as far as being crafty and just knowing how to manipulate people and manipulate the battlefield, I do feel like that's a really good aspect of Omni-Man's game. Obviously, he has his physical hacks. He's very measured in the way that he distributes his power, so I'd say that's almost a hack, and the fact that he has such good power control. Overall, I just think for hacks, he's a pretty simple brawler type superhuman. So there's nothing too crazy, but I do think when you blend that all with his experience, his skill, and his speed, as well, there is, like, I do remember in the guidebook it does state he actually does, like, quantum skip a little bit when he uses speed at a certain point because of his atoms, but that's not going to be much of a fighting influence. So overall, I do think his bag, while it's a little more simple than most, it is dangerous. Even if you argued that, like, Omni-Man's more experienced, let's say that led to him knowing more techniques, more moves, Goku could technically probably copy them if they were that much of a difference. I'm gonna be honest, I told Chuck this, like, even when I was reading through the Saiyan arc, I was like, Goku's versatility and the moves he's shown he's picked up already, like even with Tien's move I spoke on earlier, he has a lot of tricks that he could throw at Omni-Man that are actual threats.
After Goku trained with Kami, he got like so much more powerful and much better in martial arts. Because not only did he learn how to make himself so still that his presence was like, you know, really hard to detect, but he could also see like the depths of his like opponents. And even without seeing them, he could sense like what direction they were coming from and what attack they were gonna use. So, you know, I think it is very reasonable to say that Goku has a lot of aces up his sleeve. Okay, so what do you think about the, you know, possible win condition, you know, or the argument that what if Goku drops his guard? What if Omni-Man tries to do talk no jutsu and be like, hey bro, don't kill me, like we're cool, like I have a family or whatever, right? Do you think that Goku would, you know, let his guard down and allow Omni-Man to get a really good hit in? Or do you think that Goku would be like, nah, like I'm not falling for that slick?
I felt like after considering it, it was just a little weird to favor that because Goku got tricked by Raditz, but he literally just found out Raditz was actually his brother. So there's a heavy personal connection there that led to a stupid decision. Was it a horrible decision? Yeah, absolutely. But stupid stuff like letting Vegeta go after they fought actually makes sense because both of them share the warrior tradition and they would honor that. Like Goku just knew that given their tendencies. That's not going to happen with Omni-Man. That's not another Saiyan. It's just a dude looking to kill him and probably wipe out his planet. I don't know. I just don't feel like because there's no prep before this, they don't know each other. I don't know what Omni-Man would say in the clutch to make Goku drop his guard. I just don't. So I don't favor that win condition as much as I would favor Goku, who literally trains to fight characters so fast he can't see them. Like he has to sense them. I definitely think he can get a shot off and hit Omni-Man. And I think Omni-Man's in trouble if he gets hit by Goku at that point. And Goku is willing to kill. And I believe Omni-Man's a daunting enough opponent and like a sinister enough opponent when fighting that Goku would be like, okay, it's me or you. You gotta go. And he did that with Nappa and Vegeta. He literally told them, hey, look, you have no mercy. I'm not gonna give you any. Simple. And I do feel like he would go that way against Omni-Man. I don't see Omni-Man go like just saying anything that makes sense to make Goku stop. Early on, Goku literally explained to Gohan how he uses his almost precog and states he literally senses a shift in power, sense in direction, and just anticipates instead of having to match their speed. So he's had that technique for a long ass time. Like he's always been that way. That's why like you can literally see on his face him being surprised by speed and still reacting. Like he reacted at one point to, I believe it was Vegeta. He dropped down, he said, damn, he's blitzing me, I can't react to him. But he just did. We are considering this narrative as like Omni-Man's on his knees making an appeal to save his life. I'm not convinced at that point that's even happening because that means Goku hit his bitch ass multiple times with really strong attacks. And I don't know if at that point he would even be strong enough because he's not lasering Goku. He's not hitting him with something that's piercing. He's punching him, you know? I don't see a punch landing from a weakened on his knees, trying to be manipulative Omni-Man. I don't see that having enough power to just one-shot Goku.
One thing I like to mention is that this battle could have, taken a much more complicated and lengthier turn if we included like the crossovers, because Omni-Man does scale pretty highly if we use those like to a T, And even before we get to like the end of the series, like there's like these Invincibles that come like in the Invincible War event, and one of them claimed that he had killed Spawn before. Now, I don't really know that much about Spawn, but I have heard that he has beaten like Universal or like Multiversal Gods, So, an early Invincible beat him, and then Omni-Man got that much more powerful. And then you have Omnipotus, who scales to multiple Invincibles that possibly scale to that Invincible that killed that Spawn. Then you could unironically scale Omni-Man to being like as powerful as several Spawns. If you want to take that literally though.
If we brought up in this battle, hey, also, he like Invincible, who didn't scale to Omni-Man, beat Spawn, comic fans would shit themselves. They'd be like, wait, why is this a fight? So like, yeah, we definitely didn't want to bring in the crossover stuff just because there's a lot of power implications from W's he got off crossovers.
So just think about that. And also, Omni-Man also fought this dude named Supreme, who is kind of like, he's basically like a more insane Omni-Man. I don't know all of his feats, but he does have universe level stuff. I believe he like survived like his own like reality being destroyed, and I think Suprema, who's like comparable to him, like lifted like a universe as well.
It just, honestly, we were putting them side by side, and this was the first, like, I would say stop with both characters where they met, where we were like, this is actually really interesting. And so that's why we stuck with this. These were the first forms that we found to be like the most congruent early on, and we wanted to run that through. If you like this matchup, maybe we'll explore stronger ones down the road. But yeah, this one, yeah, and we also thought it was dope to think of a scenario where like instead of Vegeta coming in, it's Omni-Man, because Omni-Man is a dominator like Vegeta was, and just having him slug it out like Saiyan Saga or Namek Saga. In the end,
it doesn't even matter.
Just based on, oh my god, was that a Linkin Park bar?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't catch that. Usually I'm the bar god, but yeah, like all seriousness, I wasn't able to get over a few things for Omni-Man in this matchup to help him out. I didn't feel like his win conditions helped him enough. I trust Goku in this particular matchup way more to get the job done because of his versatility, the types of attacks at his disposal. He has more range, and he hits way harder. In the end, I favor, probably mid-diff in this scenario, Goku.
Ayo fellas, I just wanted to say thanks to Ridge for sponsoring this video. They have lightweight, high-grade products such as their trademark wallets with amazing durability that come with a lifetime warranty that you can carry for life. Most people nowadays still use old boomer-style wallets that get clunky and become harder to keep organized as time goes on. But these wallets are designed to fit really easily into your pocket. It comes in over 30 colors like red, blue, carbon fiber, burnt titanium, and so on. I personally picked gunmetal because it looks really classy and I really love how it feels overall. It can hold up to 12 cards with extra room for cash, and it comes with an RFID protection against those people that may want to jack your information. The Rich team is so confident that you'll love it that you can try it out for 45 days and get a full refund if you are not satisfied. Chances are though that you will enjoy it given that they have over 30,000 5-star reviews. If you're interested and you want to help the channel out, you can get 10% off your purchase right now with free worldwide shipping and returns by going on rich.com/ChuckTCC and use my code ChuckTCC in all caps. The link will be in the description below. Thanks, and let's get right back to the video. Oh, yo, since you were talking about, like, the whole Saiyan Saga AP, being a challenge for Omni-Man, we didn't really talk about Saiyan Saga Goku, because it seems like we came to the agreement that the Namek Saga one would be more fitting to the battle. But for those wondering, what if Saiyan Saga Goku fought him instead? I think Goku's attacks could still, like, heavily hurt, maybe even kill Omni-Man. But I think that because his durability and speed wouldn't be as high as it was in the Namek Saga, Omni-Man would be able to come out on top because he's a lot more competitive in that matchup.
We had a lot of, stuff to read and go over, but, thanks for working on this with me. I do appreciate it. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Again, I would highly recommend reading Invincible. It's a pretty good series. Yeah, let me know if you guys want me to cover other Invincible characters. I was thinking of doing like a ranking list because there's actually really nice scaling within the series as well. Maybe we could do something with Thrag or, stuff like that. And if you guys want to see...
Battle Beast.
Yeah, yo, Battle Beast is a monster, bro. But if you guys want to see like a video on Thrag or, Omni-Man, like a composite one, if we include like the Spawn stuff and Supreme and stuff like that, let us know. It could be like a standalone video, or it could be like Omni-Man against like a stronger version of Goku or something like that. But I don't know, just throwing some stuff out there. Thank you very much for watching. I'm very sorry for not uploading. I'm a lazy bitch. But yeah, thanks again, and check out YFV, your favorite villain. He does a lot of stuff. He's actually been branching out to a lot more anime stuff. He does comics, and yeah, he knows a lot more stuff than I do. So check him out, and yeah, subscribe to us both, and we'll catch you thoughties next time. Peace out.
Road to 10K, baby. Help me out.